welcome to another show. I'm diving into my Van Halen collection again today, and we're going to be doing something pretty, basic. I'm just going to be showing you the Van Halen vinyl. I have the, studio albums. This case has all my Van Halen vinyl, bootlegs, live records, promos, picture discs, whatever. I'm just going to dig out the studio albums that I have on vinyl here and just kind of whiz through those just to show you what I got. So here we go. From 1978, we get the debut album, of course. And most of these original ones I have two copies of. This is my original copy that I bought sometime in the 80s. I don't remember when or where, but I bought it in, I guess I really got into Van Halen around 83, 84, but I was aware of them before that, but didn't really own anything. Probably the first thing I picked up was Diver Down, probably on cassette from like one of those record clubs, but then I became a big fan and just went out and started picking up everything. So this was my original Van Halen, copy of Van Halen. This I picked up, I believe, at Vintage Vinyl in New Jersey, probably 10 years ago or so. This is a 180 copy of the album. I've never opened this. It's still, actually this outer plastic is still sealed. This is how it came. But I'm just like gonna try to highlight one tune from each of these albums because there's so much I want to kind of get them through. I'm the One is a tune that I really love from this album. I mean, I like all these albums through and through, but I guess I'm the One. If I'm picking one tune from this, I think I'm going to go with I'm the One. Then the follow-up, 1979, we get Van Halen 2, and again, this is my original version I bought back in the 80s, and it's got a little bit of a ring there. And band on the cover. Then we've got the, this is 180, right? 180 gram re-release. I bought this in Virginia. I can't remember the name of the record store. I think it was like Lady Bird or something like that. You can see a little bit of a difference between the album covers. This is a bit like more blue, and this is a little darker. Color on this one is, it seems a little muted and everything. But another great record by this band. If I had to pick one tune to listen to right now from this album, what would it be? I mean, Dance the Night Away is always the go-to classic. Women in Love is really good. I really like Women in Love and a little intro to that. So I'm going to choose Women in Love. 1980, we get Women and Children First. Now, this record, I remember inheriting from my brother. He kind of introduced me to the band in 1980. I remember him specifically playing And the Cradle Will Rock for me, calling me into his room, listening to this song, and pointing out the little breakdown in the middle where Dave says, "Have you seen Junior's grave?" So then when I got really into Van Halen and he was kind of not that interested so much anymore, I inherited this from him. So this is his copy. And this, of course, had the poster, which I'm not going to unfold, of Dave. And some kind of, and I guess the whole band shot photos like that, but for some reason they just chose Dave's to include as a poster. This I just picked up very recently at Vinyl Dinosaur in New Jersey. This is the 180 reissue that Warner Brothers put out. It's, Warner Brothers changed their logo. They used to have that classic, WB shield, and now it's just a dot, Warner Records. Whatever. But this doesn't come with the poster. It's just in a white sleeve, just like that. But I just picked this up pretty recently in a simple rhyme, or Could This Be Magic? I always loved Could This Be Magic. It's kind of offbeat, this kind of, little kind of riverboat kind of ditty kind of sound, and I always loved that. In a Simple Rhyme is awesome, though. That would certainly be the one I would pick right after that. 1981, Fair Warning. This is an album that many Van Halen fans consider like their favorite album, and it's a great album. All these are, but I remember buying this in a store called Nichols that was by us. It was kind of like a Kmart, Walmart-y kind of store where they sold a bunch, everything, clothes, toys, garden supplies and everything. And of course, back then in the 80s, they had a record department as well. I remember buying this there. I remember just loving Mean Street. And I mean, this whole album I really dig. I dig Push Comes to Shove, just some kind of different things. Everybody always refers to this as like a darker album, which it is. But Mean Street is that's just a phenomenal track. I love it. And I got, of course, this artwork, like it's like an old building. Really cool. I thought they did a good job. And of course, I have the 180 gram reissue. I think I picked this up at FYE down in Baton Rouge when they were going out of business. And this is still on the old Warner Brothers one. This isn't one of the newer Warner Brother dot labels. Then we get Diver Down in 1982. This is my original copy. I don't remember where or when I picked this up, but like I said, this was the first one I picked up on cassette. I remember getting from one of those record company things where you get 12 tapes for a penny or whatever. But I always loved this record. It's just a fun record. I highlighted this in one of my top 20 albums of all time, so I'm not going to go any much further than that. But just a fun record. I always loved the collage inside on the sleeve. This is the 180 gram reissue that they put out a few years ago. I got to pick one tune off of this. Secrets and Little Guitars are my two favorite Van Halen tracks, I think, and I love Secrets. Just something a little different for them, a little kind of slower tune, I guess, but great record, fun record. I love it a lot. And of course, from 1984, but copyrighted in 1983, we get Van Halen 1984. I think there's a lot of debate that I think some people think this was released at midnight on New Year's Eve. And there are posters. I have one that sort of say like midnight New Year's Eve, but I think this record actually came out on like a week later on the 7th. I think there were some issues just kind of getting this ready to be released. This is my original copy. I still have the receipt. I should have it with this album. I don't know. I have it in a box somewhere, but I still have the receipt from when I bought this at Jack's on, I think, January 9th, 1984. This is that copy. I couldn't wait. I can vividly remember, it was, I guess, a Saturday, and that was when I could get a ride to Red Bank to go to the record store, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go there to pick this up. Always loved this. It's a shame the band kind of parted ways after this. And I just recently, off eBay, got the 180 gram reissue. I didn't even open it. What did I pick from this album? And it's funny because, they don't even list the tracks on the outside of the album. I remember when you bought it, the original version had like the hype sticker on the front with the song titles listed. I guess I'm gonna say I love Top Jimmy. I always thought Top Jimmy was a great tune, so I'm gonna pick Top Jimmy off of that one. Then 1985 brings us Dave's solo EP, which was supposed to just kind of hold them over until they made another Van Halen record, but we all know what happened there. I bought this when it first came out. This is my copy I bought in January of 85. I really liked California Girls. I mean, I think it was more the video than the song, really. And I really loved the video. And same with Just a Gigolo. I've never really been crazy about that song, but the video was great. You can't deny it. I mean, the other two tracks on here, Coconut Grove and Easy Street, I like a whole lot more than the California Girls and Just a Gigolo. But, this was cool. I really enjoyed it at the time. It was kind of, nice little holdover till we got another Van Halen album. And that Van Halen album was 1986 5150, now with Sammy Hagar in the band. There they are, coming out of that big globe. New version of the logo. I remember buying this the day it came out at Platypus, which was Jack's and Platypus were like the two sort of go-to records when I was growing up that weren't too far away from where I lived. I remember buying this, and I remember getting the single Why Can't This Be Love at Tower Records on a trip to New York, whatever, maybe a month before this came out or something. And I thought it was all right, and I thought that song was pretty good. It's very, polished and very It's very much a top 40 kind of pop song, but I didn't hate it like a lot of people did. I wasn't happy that the band had parted ways because it was, I was getting to that age where now I can go to concerts and everything. So and I loved that band so much that I didn't get to see those original four guys on stage, unfortunately. I had an opportunity to, but that's a long story why that didn't pan out. Unfortunately, it didn't. But, this is I like this record. A lot of people complain about the drum sound in it. It never bothered me, really. I know it's a little bit more of like an electronic kind of sound, I guess. But, I'm not a musician. I just like good songs or whatever. And there's a lot of good songs on this. As much as I am not a Sammy Hagar fan, they wrote a lot of good songs together, I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to, pretend like that wasn't the case. But, and the other interesting thing was they put lyrics in the Van Halen record for the first time. And I don't think they did it again. It was kind of weird, but the best track on here, no question, is the title track, 5150. That's a great song, probably the best song, in my opinion, that they ever recorded with Hagar. And then, of course, Not to Be Undone, same year, in the summer, we get Dave's Eat 'Em and Smile. This is my original version I bought that summer. I remember I was down visiting a friend in North Carolina. I remember picking up the single, The Yankee Rose. I'd heard it on the radio already, and I just thought it was an awesome track. And it's a good record, I'd say about half of this holds up. I liked it a lot back when it came out. Now, probably about half of it I think is still really, really good. Yankee Rose, of course, is great. My favorite track on here is Big Trouble, no question. I always loved that song. And good band, it's a shame they really couldn't stick together because I think Dave needed, solid band to back him up. I think that's why some of his solo career was just kind of faltering a little bit here and there because of the instability of his musical partners. And of course, that fall, they put out the Spanish version, Sonrisa Salvaje, I guess is how it's pronounced. Spanish version, kind of interesting to do. I don't remember when I picked this up. Friday Music reissued this on a bunch of things, but this isn't that. This is the original Warner Brothers version that came out in the fall of 1986. You can see it's got a little bit of a cutout there. Maybe I've listened to this once, perhaps. It's a novelty, It's interesting that he put this out. It was kind of, I don't want to say it was like ahead of his time or anything like that, but it was kind of an interesting choice to kind of trying to, sort of cater to that crowd, with like a new hard rock album. It wasn't really something I don't think anybody really did at the time, or maybe hasn't really done that much since or at all, but it was kind of an interesting experiment, is what it is. And then in 1988, we get Skyscraper, released in January. This is a copy I picked up at Jack's the day it came out. I think the day it came out, I bought the vinyl, the CD, and the cassette. And I don't know if I've ever even listened to this. I'm sure I have once, but at that time we were into CDs and stuff. It's even, like I said, I didn't really collect a lot of the Van Halen, Sammy Hagar stuff. I bought all the albums when they came out, but I wasn't really collecting stuff. So usually with that version of Van Halen, I was kind of buying one format of them, so like OU812, which came out this year in 1988, I bought the cassette, and that's all I had for years and years until I finally picked up the CD. I never picked up the vinyl of that, but this one was a good record. Now I think it sounds a bit dated. It's maybe got a bit too many keyboards all over the place. Hina is my favorite track off of this. I really love Hina. But I really liked this at the time, but haven't listened to it really through and through in a long time. Then 1991, we get A Little Ain't Enough. This is around when it's kind of getting tough to find stuff on vinyl because vinyl's sort of going by the wayside. And this one, I think I tracked down maybe through a record club or something. Got the lyrics, and I got the big shark picture. Same with Skyscraper. Maybe I listened to this album, this vinyl, once or twice because I had the CD and I had the cassette, I had the CD, so that was the main thing I was listening to when I wanted to listen to this record when it came out. But it was I remember it being a little tough to find this on vinyl, but I eventually did and picked it up. And I don't know how rare it is, but you know, it seems like it probably would be a little rare to find this one. I want to say the tune on here, oh, probably Drop in the Bucket, the last song that he wrote with Jason Becker. There's a really good documentary about Jason Becker if you want to watch. It's really worth checking out. It's a really good story. But that's my favorite tune on this record. Really, really good. Always kind of remind me a little bit of Drop Dead Legs, because it sort of has this breakdown in it, and then it kind of just goes into, almost turns into like an instrumental to kind of, play out till the end. So really good tune, Drop in the Bucket. Then from 1994, we get Dave's album, Your Filthy Little Mouth. This, I believe, is from Germany, because I don't think this was ever released on vinyl in the United States. Eclectic Album, I like it. A lot of people don't dig it at all, but I like it. I can appreciate what he was trying to do, just kind of experimenting with all different kinds of sounds and stuff, and I like it there. And I think he wrote a lot. There's a lot of good lyrics on here. I saw the tour. I think he played like 2 shows in New York that year. I saw them, and it was stripped down. He was in much smaller clubs, but still a pretty good show. Some good songs on here. Sunburn's really good, and it's got some great lyrics. Nobody, I think, besides me, likes the song No Big Ting, which is kind of trying to be a reggae song, but it doesn't really sound like one. But I think if you listen to the lyrics or read the lyrics, there's really good stuff that he's written for that song. So I really kind of like that song. I'm probably the only one. And then 2012, we get Different Kind of Truth, the reunion, the final album, studio album by the band. Picked this up. I think it's really tough to find now, or to get cheap, I should say. I think when I bought this, it's a double LP. I think when I bought this, I got it for maybe $40. Now I think it goes for a lot more. It's a gatefold, a bunch of the lyrics and Dave's artwork and stuff. Good record, I mean, it's a fitting way to go out, I guess. A lot of people whined about like that some of these songs were old, redone versions of old songs, but I never had a problem with that whatsoever. I'd say if I'm going to pick a tune, I'm going to pick Chinatown. I always liked that from the first time I heard it. I always thought that was a great song. I really like it. Good album. So that's all my studio Van Halen, David Lee Roth vinyl I have. It's odd, I think, that the first 6 records have been reissued on vinyl. It's odd to me that they've never reissued. I mean, you kind of know why, I guess, but with all the drama that band has always had floating around it, it is still odd that Warner Brothers has never reissued any of those Sammy Hagar records on vinyl. I would imagine that may be coming now that Ed has passed, and the band is going to essentially go into this kind of, vault legacy kind of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if reissues of those Hagar fronted albums, pop up soon now. Maybe not soon, but will eventually. But and they should, like I said, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of his, but that band, I still was a fan, through and through, and I always liked Ed, Al, and Mike, and would always buy those albums right when they came out, because I just always wanted to hear what those guys were doing. So anyways, that's it. By all means, like the video, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. There's a bunch of other Van Halen videos on here and interviews and stuff. If you want to check them out, I'd love that. And we'll see you next time. Take care.